Hey everybody, it's Dina Rica with the Creativity Cave, and I have a super cute video to show you using this awesome stamp set called Mother's Love. And what's awesome is it's on special for our weekly deals this week. So let me show you how it works. I did a couple of modifications to this stamp set to make it a little easier for me to use, and I'll show you what I mean by that in just a second. But let me show you first how I put the card together. So I'm going to start with my card folded, of course, and I'm going to stamp using some Whisper White ink and the solid image here. And I'm just going to throw little white cardstock under here so I don't get ink all over my sheet. But I'm just going to stamp kind of cascading flowers from the one corner, oops, kind of missed that, all the way down, like so. And then I will also put a little bit of white ink around the edges. So I just am going to lightly brush my pad along the edges of my card. And I think that looks super awesome on crumb cake cardstock in particular. It's just pretty. Okay, so I've got the background. I'm going to set that aside for just a minute to dry. Then I'm going to come back and show you how I modified my stamp set. And I think you'll find that is pretty cool too. So on here, I'm just going to grab a piece of cardstock. This is just a little piece of Whisper White again. And I'll use my Memento ink. I use Memento whenever I need some black because it's really, really black. And it doesn't stain my stamps the way StazOn does. It comes off easy. It's great. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and stamp this down like so. Okay, and there's my image. Now I'm going to punch this out first with my 2.5-inch circle punch. And I just want to leave, you know, most of the flower image kind of going, but then a little room right here to stamp my greeting. And there we go. Now, what I did to my stamp set that's a little different. Well, actually, let me stamp the greeting in there, get that done. So I have for you right there. Okay, now what I did to my stamp is, you can see this is the rubber sheet, and here are the images that fit in the two-step part of this outline image. And what I did was I separated the stems out from the flowers, and that way I can use the flowers separately. Now, if you take and position them on the rubber sheet, that way they'll be lined up correctly to fit right over the top. So I'm just going to grab my block and I'll set it down on here, and then that leaves the images on my block. Then I'll come back and put the flowers on there as they are, so they're touching, you know, just right on the sheet. And then I'll take my other block and pick those up as well. Okay, so now they are positioned correctly to work with my stamp. Now this way I can easily ink the different colors for the stem and then the different color for the flower. Okay, so I've got Coastal Cabana on here, and I'm just going to stamp that, of course, where it belongs, and of course it's perfect. Everybody loves when it's perfect. Then I will take my Pear Pizzazz and ink up the stems and stamp those as well. Of course, they are perfect too. And that is how I got these separate. So I just took my scissors and cut them apart. Okay, now let me bring my card base back here and add the rest of my card. So first of all, I'll give you a couple tips. So whenever I'm cutting the little flag ends out of my cardstock, I have a few tips for that. So the first tip is to take your scissors and just cut a slit, you know, in the center. Then you go from each corner to the end of that slit, and then that gives you a nice even flag. Okay, and that's great. Perfect, easy to do. If you have a smaller piece, you can use one of two punches. You can use either the bitty banner punch or the hexagon punch. And let me show you what I mean by that. I'll do both. So this is the hexagon punch, and you can do this up to, so you just set your piece of paper in there like that on this, and then punch. On a piece as skinny as this, I find it easier to use the banner punch. So what I'm going to do is just take and put that in through here like so. I make sure it is, you know, even top to bottom. And then I just punched that piece out, and then it gives me the perfect little flag. Again, you can do that with this punch as well. If you have a little bigger piece, let me show you. I just have a scrap sitting here I'll grab. So I'm just going to put it in here. Again, you want it to be centered top to bottom in here, so there's the same amount of distance there as there is there. You punch that and you have a perfect thing. Now, because this piece of paper is so big, it doesn't work because it's wider, but it's a great tip for getting those flags that are so popular and found everywhere. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and attach this to my card now. I've been using Fast Fuse because it is so strong and easy to use. I've never had much success with Tombow mono adhesive, well, the snail that we call it, because I live in a really humid in the summer place, and Tombow just releases and it drives me nuts. I actually did a swap once for convention in Orlando, and my card literally fell apart as I was swapping it, and it was because I used the snail. Okay, so I just added this little strip of printed paper. I even put it on there crooked, but you know what? I can't do much about it. I'll stick this over the top using a couple of dimensionals, and then I'm going to add one more little thing. Okay, so there's that. Then I'm going to come back with, uh-oh, here it is, my itty bitty accents punch pack, and let me quick grab a piece of scrap paper for that. Of course, I didn't have that handy, so I had to go grab it off camera. All right, so I just punched one of these out, and I'm going to take and adhere it with a glue dot right here. And I put a pearl on my sample, but let's try a rhinestone and see how that works, because that's kind of fun too. Love it. Super cute, super easy. Don't be afraid to cut up those stamps. It makes the use of them so much better with the flowers separate from the leaves. I love it. Thanks so much for stopping by. I will put all of the supplies I used with links to my online store so you can easily order on my blog, which is thecreativitycave.com. Thank you so much for stopping by and stamping with me. Have an awesome day. Bye-bye.